Whether it's to educate or to entertain, a movie can have enjoyment by many people. The way a film can tell a story that makes you feel emotions for the characters and invest you into the world that they're in, while also telling deeper philosophical meanings that make the viewer question themselves, is no easy feat. While many movies were able to achieve this, none have ever come close to achieving it in a way like Despicable Me did. The way the film creates this atmosphere by inviting the audience into their world is something that I've never seen done on a level like this before. The movie gives a basic story of evil turning good that is somehow able to feel new and innovative in its storytelling, that has amazing characters and set pieces while weaving in hidden messages and symbol right under the viewer's eyes. The movie was made by Universal Studios and Illumination and was originally meant to be directed by Ridley Scott. However, Ridley Scott could not comprehend the film's many meanings and overall story, so he abandoned it and went on to make Prometheus as his next feature film. Stephen Carell, who voiced Gru, even said that this was one of the deepest roles he had ever gotten in a movie. The movie opens in Egypt with a group of American tourists taking their photos at the pyramids, with one of them holding up the pyramids, showing the true strength of the American people. America. Later, the child named Justin runs past the guards and up a slope and falls into the pyramid, where it turns out to be a fake. This is Universal Studios' way of trying to parody modern-day standards and socialistic ideas about how nothing is real anymore, much like the modern-day Instagram model. When Justin is flying after hitting the pyramid, all the people are photographing him instead of helping him, again, parodying modern-day standards.
I've got him! I've got him!
However, Justin is able to run past the guards and stay at a good distance from them, which leads me to believe that Justin is a young Usain Bolt, and it doesn't take much to notice the similarities. After this opening scene, we are introduced to our protagonist of the film, Gru. Gru goes under some intense character development in this film, and throughout my entire life, I don't think I've ever seen a single character in a movie who has been more relatable. Gru is a man, and with that, he relates to a large amount of the population. In the early scenes of the film, we see him as this evil presence that will do anything so long as it is evil in nature. His character wears black that is commonly associated with villains, which makes him stand out in the clean and colourful landscape that surrounds him. However, as the film goes on, we start to see him change, turning more kind in nature. We are first introduced to Gru as a smiling protagonist who helps a crying child by making them a balloon animal, then destroys it, revealing his true character. Universal Studios is trying to metaphorically show the idea of childlike innocence dying as age and real-world values set in.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
This relates to Gru's childhood, where he had dreams of getting to the moon, and they had to be slowly but surely crushed.
Look, Mom, I made a real rocket based on the macaroni prototype.
Gru lives in this neighbourhood that is an identical and clean landscape that is only contrasted with his house being of larger size and darker colours and themes, showing how he is of evil in nature and also wants to be a different person. Gru has old-fashioned views on life.
Get back in the kitchen!
And as the movie progresses, we as the audience see his viewpoints change along with his character. As to what drives Gru to be evil is never fully found out. He's mainly seen to have this anime supervillain level of desire towards his actions. It could be said that his mother is to blame, but it's never the parents' fault.
What the fuck?
My theory is that he has a small penis. I mean, just look at everything he owns, it's bigger than everything around him. We are later introduced to the girls who meet Gru as door-to-door salesmen.
Good morning! Vaultec calling.
Whatever you're selling, I'm not buying.
Go away.
The girls in the film play a part of converting Gru from his evil-minded ways into more of a father figure. Now, Gru adopts the girls as a means to steal from Vector, however, as the movie progresses, he starts to get closer to them and learns what they mean to him. They all have different personalities that make them unique and defined as characters. Margot being of the oldest and most mature and acts as the voice of reason towards the girls and guides them in their decisions. Agnes is the youngest and the most innocent. She has a weird obsession with unicorns, and when she first meets Gru, unlike the others, she accepts him with open arms, not judging him on his appearance.
No annoying sounds, right?
Does this count as annoying?
We like Fortnite! We like Fortnite! We like Fortnite!
Very.
And Edith, being of violent nature and wearing pink, however not acting in the way a young child would be assumed to act.
What about this?
Snake, are you okay? Snake? Snake!
However, not many people know this, but Edith would later grow up to become 02 from Darling in the Franxx, where she would suck the life out of pilots who dare ride with her.
It poked a hole in my juice box.
Now, one of the most renowned things about Despicable Me are the creatures known as the Minions. Many have theorized in the film about what the creatures really are. The film uses this show don't tell idea that is commonly used in films to leave a lot up to the imagination. In the movie, we see the Minions take damage and never die, and it also appears they don't need air to survive, which leads people into believing that they're somehow immortal. The language they speak is made up of screams and incomprehensible words along with mispronounced words. This might be because their ability to never die has left them in a constant state of pain and are constantly screaming in hopes of ending their sufferings. Along with this, they sometimes seem to be suicidal, maybe because they're again trying to end their existence. As to what they are, it is theorized that they could be gods and are on a higher level of intelligence than humans, and are here to judge whether the human race is ready to continue our existence in the universe. Speculation has also led people into believing that in this world's rules of science, these creatures were created through scientific cell-based radiation and mutation to create a creature of ultimate life. Both of these theories do add up when we consider everything we see on the Minions, however nothing is sound of yet. Vector is later introduced, and we first see him talking to Gru and is clearly interested in his body, and asks if he may have the option to have sex with him. Gru decides to freeze his head, killing him in the process as a sign of him saying no. Vector takes the role of the main villain in the story, but as a villain, he does not follow your typical villain trope that would be expected of him. If Gru is represented as the stereotypical villain, Vector breaks the mold by having his lair very clean. He also wears orange.
Please approach SCP-173 for testing.
Vector also never kills anyone in the film, unlike Gru, who has an absolute bloodlust within the film. Really, he actually killed more than the villain. Vector also has an obsession with sea animal-based weaponry, which is reference to Japanese pop culture. Yeah, he also plays on the Wii.
Shoot a gun, dog. Learn how to fucking shoot a gun, you
riot shield. What else do you want me to do?
Oh, riot shield! I'm a pussy that use riot shield!
Later on, Gru and the girls are at a theme park, and the girls are trying to win a stuffed unicorn through a game. The game is rigged, so they can never win. But in this scene, Gru starts to feel for the girls like the father figure we're meant to see him as, and decides to win the unicorn by destroying the store. However, before the store is destroyed, we are shown a shot, and we see there are children and some adults in the background on a ride. And then after we destroy it, they're not there anymore. Now, we can probably assume that Gru murdered these children. Maybe because he wants to show that he's still evil inside, or maybe he just didn't see. Later on in the movie, in one of the most important scenes, Gru is reading a bedtime story to the children, called Three Little Kittens. Now, not many people know this, but this book can also be found in Skyrim, and upon reading it, Todd Howard will actually appear in-game and feed upon the soul of your wallet, just before trying to sell you Fallout 76. The book parodies his life to the girls, and in this scene, he starts to realize what the girls mean to him. Now, this scene is overlooked in the regard when you consider certain biblical ideas and you realize the girls and Gru represent the four horsemen of the apocalypse of death, famine, war, and conquest. And after some time, they would surely destroy the earth. And if we consider Gru to be the horseman of death, we can start to see his character in new light. Gru wants to steal the moon and cause a worldwide catastrophe with thousands dying, and in the movie, death seems to follow him and he never seems to die. Later on, they reenact the Fortnite battle bus, most likely as a way of warning humanity of the horror that Fortnite would bring towards the world. And also, Vector fucking dies. But this is done in a way to show that good would always triumph over evil, and since it's a kids' movie, they're trying to drill that into the kids' brains. The film ends with Gru dancing and everybody is happy. And while he never achieved his goal of stealing the moon and becoming the greatest villain of all time, he found something more important to him. And honestly, I don't think I could have thought of a better way to end this movie. In conclusion, Despicable Me is a good movie. Watch Despicable Me, it will save your life and your marriage.